astronauts, welcome back to the Digital Galaxy Podcast. I'm your pilot, Justin.
And I'm your co pilot, Paul. Buckle up because today in episode 39, we're discussing the June Jobs Report. The information in this episode comes from ABC News and the U.S. Department of Labor. So, Justin, let's fill the crew in on what the June U.S. Jobs Report looks like.
Yeah, so according to ABC News, quote, in the strongest gains since August, employers added 850,000 jobs last month. And average wages rose a healthy 3.6% from a year earlier. A sign that business needs workers so badly they're willing to ramp up pay. End quote.
Yeah, so I think that's a decent sign that the economy is getting closer to normal. Sounds like job creation is up, but there's also a raise in wages. I know that a lot of people are willing to quit their current job and are confident that they can find a better paying position. With that said, a lot of employers are remarking that they can't find people to fill those positions. So what gives? What have you seen, out there in the current job market, Justin?
I mean, I've seen a lot of people, especially on Twitter and Instagram. A lot of fast food restaurants are, throwing signs out on the order screen that basically everybody quit, and
Mm-hmm.
so again, according to ABC News, in June, 942,000 people were unemployed because of the voluntarily left their old employer, and
Wow.
that was up 21% from 778 thousand people in May, and it's the highest monthly figures since 2016, which is pretty insane.
It is. Yeah, that's almost 200,000 people basically, more leaving their positions in a month. The way I see it is that, it seems that workers are definitely in the pilot seat here. They have the upper hand, which is good for people who are either pursuing a new job or looking for better wages, but not necessarily great for, businesses, especially those who have struggled since the COVID closures in 2020. So, since this is a tech news podcast, Justin, what kind of ramifications do you think technology, plays in this current trend?
So, as we all know, a lot of companies have allowed their employees to work remotely, but many are requiring them to return. According to the Labor Department reported that the proportion of people who are teleworking dropped to 14.4% in June, down from 16.6% in May, and a peak of 35% in May 2020. So
Mhm.
more and more people are returning back to their normal jobs, me included.
So I guess what impact does technology, driven income have on someone's decisions? This is, of course, just purely speculation on my part, but I feel like a lot of people have found ways to, possibly create income on like Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, and other platforms. Do you think that's the case, or do you just think that there's people out there who, don't need to get back to work or don't want to get back to work, or what are you feeling?
I really think that the coronavirus put into perspective, especially for people that work, these tough jobs. And I know a lot of people think that working at McDonald's is easy, but it's not. It's a very stressful
It's not.
environment, and those people deserve more pay. They absolutely do. And I think people are now waking up that, like, holy crap, we are not getting paid nearly enough for as much work as we do. And I think it's awesome that people are realizing that their hours worked are worth more than what they're getting right now.
Hmm.
But I mean, obviously, there may be some other reasons why people aren't returning to work quite yet. Some
Hmm.
Americans are delaying their job search owing to lingering health concerns or difficulty making childcare arrangements, anything like that.
Hmm.
Federal unemployment benefits, all of it. Others have decided to retire early or train for new careers.
Yeah, I think people took, the pandemic as an opportunity to, seek other avenues, either advance their careers or, like you said, I mean, people just have realized that they don't have to work for those wages, and then that the market actually needs them to come back. So even though economists expect the supply of workers to gradually catch up, with demand eventually, but I think that, like I said earlier, the workers are in the pilot seat right now, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, how the economy rebounds, and how I think technology has made a huge influence on that, with people seeking out different work adventures.
Yeah,
So
and
we'll see.
like I said, I mean, coronavirus really put it into perspective for a lot of people, including myself, about like, because I mean, when it all happened, with granted, whatever your job is, be it retail, food service, or whatever, at
Hmm.
a lower, chopping board, if you will, um, they stacked on a lot of responsibilities on those workers and did not change their pay, and a lot of people were not compensated for working through the pandemic,
Yep,
and
that's true.
it's not cool, and people are realizing that. I think hopefully this is able to kind of push some bigger corporations to realize how important their employees are to them, and maybe they can keep them, maybe they can fix it, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, employee retention, I'm sure, is going to be pretty low right now, but
Oh yeah,
hopefully they'll figure it out and get people back and working, get them some better benefits, maybe.
absolutely.
Here's hoping, you know.
Well, I'd say that just about wraps up this episode. So thanks for coming along. Please stick around to hear a message from our sponsor, Anchor.fm. Also, don't forget to follow our channels on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. You can also find this episode in the written form on our website, digitalgalaxypodcast.com. This episode was created by Clearo, a social media app where you are in charge of your data and community. Check it out at Clearo.app. You can also support Clearo by backing our brand new Kickstarter campaign at Kickstarter.com. Thanks for coming along on our journey, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Digital Galaxy Podcast runs on Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. So let me explain. First of all, it's free. Second, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.